shit rolling from the start. I don't do any kind of introduction. I just kind of get rolling on and into it. So, brother, I appreciate you taking the time, man. I know that you're a busy fella right now, and I'm sure you got a lot of shit going on. So I appreciate you coming on here, bro. This is awesome.
Of course, man. No, it's cool that you invited me on. It was cool that you got a hold of Justin too before me. So
Yeah.
you probably have an idea by talking to him about things about me now too. So
Yeah, and I listen to all the podcasts, bro. So I'm not gonna do the. I know most podcasts start with like the introduce yourself, talk about your past shit, and it's like let's. I kind of like skipping over that. So the first question I'm gonna ask you is how are you, Joe? How is Joe right now, just in general?
I'm good, man. Like this morning, I posted a picture about my son and just how grateful I am to be able to be so present in his life, pursuing like a dream of mine where he can just be a part of it all. So just really grateful. Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. Do you think that newfound like drive is what's really driving a lot of your progress in your prep right now, just in general?
1,000%, man. When it's something bigger than just you
Hmm.
and you have people relying on you in a sense, it's you're never that tired, you never can give enough. You always have another gear that you can tap into, and it's a motivating factor that I didn't even know I needed until I got it.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, there's levels to this shit of life.
Yeah, for real.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's one thing, and that's the one big thing I wanted to hit on you is 'cause I really like your mentality and kind of like I think the big overarching question I wanted to ask you is that do you think that like overarching drive for whatever it may be, like for you it's your son, for other people it could be like just a fulfillment in like for life, like in particular in bodybuilding. Do you think that's why a lot of guys end up falling off and like kind of going off the rails because they don't have like that solid reason for doing this?
I think people burn themselves out when they put all their eggs into one basket all the time. And when you have different parts of your life that you can give yourself to,
Hmm.
it heavily aids in the ability to push farther in each aspect of life. Because just like it's almost like, okay, I'm sure you do the bodybuilding thing too.
Yeah.
When you eat oatmeal every day in the morning, first thing in the morning, eventually you get tired of the oatmeal. And what do you want to do?
Yeah.
You want to switch it out for something else. And then
Hmm.
eventually you get tired of that. So having multiple parts of my life that I can pour myself into at different times of my life helps give back to the other things that I'm kind of taking away from to go into. So for example, when bodybuilding is all in, like my prep time and stuff, and this is like I'm focusing on the show, it does take away a little bit from my family. And that's just how it is.
Hmm.
Once the show's done and over with, I'm still 100% a bodybuilder. However, now I pour more of my energy into my family. And then on top of that, I have a business that I run over here, my personal training stuff and working with clients and pouring into them. So having different things is a huge advantage of mine where
Hmm.
somebody may look at it like, oh, well, if you, what is it? If you take on too much, then you're going to hurt the other. But
Right.
there's a balance within that, right? Like I said, everything has its place and there's a certain time for each one of those things. Right now it's bodybuilding. As soon as it's
Hmm.
all over, it's going to go to my family. As long as they're taken care of, it's my business, which will take care of my family, which will take care of bodybuilding. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Hmm.
it's like a ever giving like loop of things, and I think that's a great point that guys getting into the sport. I think they want to like they just want to think about like eating. They want to be like the Jay Cutler, to eat, sleep, train. And I feel like unless you are programmed like a psycho, that's gonna run like an example of this is like a few months ago I went to Dallas. That's where I got the shirt at, and
Yeah.
I went to my old coach's apartment, just hung out there, and I didn't really have anything to do besides I didn't like plan for anything to do. So I just trained and like slept, and I was like, I've dreamed about this, but this really isn't like I'm kind of losing my shit. I'm kind of losing my mind.
And you're
So it's like
young,
if you,
man.
yeah, so it's like if you have like those different like for me, for example, I'm trying to build like my own business, my own social media and whatever and learning all that kind of stuff. So whenever you're able to like dump your time into other things, it's like it almost freshens up the bodybuilding part when you do come back to it. Because like really bodybuilding is very, very, very simple. And I think people have overcomplicated. It's like like I always reference Luke Pritchard always says that it's like it's chicken, it's testosterone, it's rice, and it's train hard. It's that's it.
Yeah.
And then if you overcomplicate that, it's like that's when you're going to burn out and that's when you're going to drive yourself nuts. But if you have like you have your son, I've got my business, other people could have like maybe other hobbies or whatever they're dumping that into, I think that just it makes bodybuilding feel fresh when you do come back to it. Because if this is
Yes.
all you're thinking about all day, I feel like not even just from a enjoyment standpoint, I feel like that just like it's like your brain's a muscle, and like if you don't work that in other areas of your life, I'm not going to say you're going to become like stupid because you don't do anything else, but I do know some bodybuilders that are kind of, not the smartest. It's probably a reflection of like not having other interests, in my opinion.
Yeah, man. And those, every part of, so for example, within the three things I mentioned, my family, bodybuilding, my business, they each pour into each other. They don't just take away
Exactly.
from each other. So
Hmm.
being a bodybuilder makes me a better father. It makes me a better businessman. Being a better businessman makes me a better father and a better bodybuilder. Being a better family man makes me a better person for my business, as well as a representation of who I really am as a bodybuilder. So it all goes hand in hand. And again, every cup pours into each other. So at
Exactly.
a moment where you're taking away from one, you're actually going to take from what you just poured into and then pour that into the next. And so,
Yeah.
nothing gets burnt out. You have that constant refresher moment where you just reload the button and then you're good to go
Hmm.
again. So, like for
Yeah.
example, the whole Fat Joe thing, like people ask me about that. In the off season, I've always gotten heavier. Now, keep in mind, I got heavier only because I wanted to make progress. But within
Hmm.
getting heavier, there's a certain level of body fat you're going to accumulate no matter what, whether it's clean food, all this shit. So
Hmm.
balance in that, right? Where it's not a prep. So at a certain
Yeah.
point, it's just about calories. And I'm going to use those calories from like a meal that I can sit down with my family and have. So I'm still giving back to my family and less
Yeah.
to bodybuilding. I'm going to have fucking pizza if I want pizza kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I'm telling you, like I'm always a bodybuilder. I'm always a businessman. I'm always a family man. But there's times where you fine tune those things, right? So prep
Hmm.
being one of them, or like a birthday party or whatever the hell for my family, or like clients when I
Yeah.
want my business to start making a little more money, I put more time into them and I take on more clients. So
Hmm.
yeah, man, I don't allow myself to get burnt out. And the moment I start feeling overwhelmed, I start taking a step back on one thing and start
Hmm.
going to look at the other two things. So I've
Yeah,
I've
that's smart.
always loved bodybuilding, bro. Like I've never been burnt out, and it's because I do that. I live my life that way, and I've always promised myself if I'm going to pursue this, I will never look at it like a job. It should never be a job. I fell in love with it because it was a passion of mine. And the goal is obviously to make money doing your passion. So don't
Right.
ever look at it like work, because then you will start to view it as work and then you're going to end up hating it. Nobody wants to go to work.
Yeah, for real. Yeah, for real. And you never want to be like that person that starts to view bodybuilding as like a chore or like you said, work, and then they become that person that like bodybuilding is this, it ruined me, it gave me PTSD or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But it's like you said, I think that when people say, you need balance or you need whatever, it's like you can have balance, but then the things that you balance bodybuilding with are giving back to that. It's like you said, it's like a cycle. I think some people will think like you need balance and then they go to like something that's completely on the other spectrum of bodybuilding to maintain that balance, whether it be going to parties or going to this or doing that, and that's going to be your balance, which that's not really like giving back to what your main purpose is, your main
Yes.
pursuit or whatever. So it's like I think that's what gets messed up when people like you need to take a break from bodybuilding. It's like, well, taking a break from doing that could be like for you increasing like your client load, so that gives back to your family, and then giving it's all like an ever forgiving loop. I really like
Everything
that.
helps each other.
Yeah.
Every part helps the other part out, man. And I think once you view things like that, you never take away truly. You're just adding
Hmm.
on just at different times. And yeah, man, it's really elevated my life doing that. And I didn't, again, it was something I didn't know I needed until
Hmm.
I started having it. And then I was like, man, life is so much better when you're not only focused on one thing at a time.
Yeah,
So
it's like a synergy. It's like it all just works
yeah,
together.
yes,
A
yes.
synergy. Yeah. So one thing I really like about you is like I've watched. No, I first got introduced to you through like Beatty's podcast from like years ago or whatever.
Yeah,
And so what really draws me to you is that you're the same. You haven't changed a bit. Like through
yeah.
from the first podcast I see of you to now, it's like with all the new eyes and all that kind of shit, you haven't changed at all. And I think that you see with a lot of bodybuilders and like a lot of people, they put on like a fake face for social media, and then you hear from people that are around them that they're not like that behind closed doors. And I hate that shit about anybody. It could be a bodybuilder, just anybody. And so did you learn that through bodybuilding or like through this process, or have you always been just like you're getting what you get is what I am?
When I grew up, I was a very shy kid unless you got to know me, right? And I remember it's a super funny way to look at it, right? I the people that get to see who I am now and stuff, that came about.
Yo, what is up, beautiful human who is watching the podcast? First of all, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to watch the podcast, listen to the podcast. It means more to me than you guys know. But I recently checked my YouTube analytics, and 89% of you guys that are watching are not subscribed. So if you could do me one little favor, take some time out of your day and please hit that subscribe button, hit the like button, hit the bell, do all those cool things, and that will mean more to me than you guys know and will help me build this channel so I can bring on greater guests, keep giving you guys information and all that good stuff as well. Second thing is this channel is not sponsored, so I do not make money from these videos, but one way that you can support me is by using my affiliate codes. Right now I've got 3 affiliate codes. One is going to be with Nutrix Supplements. I've used all their products for about 2 or 3 years now. Their protein is very good. They have a vast variety of EAA flavors and all that kind of stuff as well. I have a code with Biomiss Labs. This is my little bottle of SLU for all your peptide needs. It'll be code Maddox over there, just like my name, MADDOX. And then I have another sponsor now with Flavor Gang. Flavor Gang has some of the craziest flavors when it comes to like cream of rice flavors, when it comes to 0-calorie sauces. It is some of the craziest tasting things. It tastes like you are cheating on your diet all the time, which is crazy. So that'll be code Maddox over there, just like my name, MADDOX. And if you guys can please use my codes over there to support me in my journey of whatever this is, that would mean more to me than you guys know. But with all that being said, let's get back to the podcast.
Because I used to, again, be afraid, just like most people are, of what people thought of me. And
Yeah.
when I got to about 20 years old, I started going out and drinking and going to parties, and I would get drunk, right? I'm young.
Yeah.
And my personality came out, not because I wasn't that person, just I didn't have a filter. I didn't care because I was
Right.
drunk. And the amount of people that loved spending time with me and all that, like loved to hear what I had to say, I was like, man, that's the best response I've ever gotten from people. And all I'm doing is not giving a fuck about what I say. And it's coming
Mm-hmm.
from me, like it's truly me. And I said,
Yeah.
I don't want to have that drunken, like, I guess, filter to remove who I am. I want to
Yeah.
just be like that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So this is where alcohol actually helped me. But it showed me that if I was just myself, I would enjoy life more and people would respond better to me because I'm not trying to be something I'm not.
Yeah.
And from that moment on, I started like really working on myself as far as who I'm portraying and who I want to be. And that's when it was effortless because I was simply just speaking what was on my mind, what came to my mind. And I did it freely, knowing it didn't matter what the person in front of me was thinking as I spoke. And
Mm-hmm.
so I promised myself that if I ever became somebody or became something or was put on in a place where people were going to want to hear what I had to say, that I would never change who I was, no matter what, because it took me so long to find myself and to be confident in who I was and to love myself that I wasn't going to take that away from myself. And that my true authentic self would mean more to somebody who's listening to me than some facade that I put on just to please somebody. So that was a huge turning point for my life as well. And I've kept my word, and it's nice to hear you say that. And I hear that everywhere I go, that I'm genuine, or that it's nice to know that the person we hear on the podcast is exactly who we're speaking to in front of us. And
Yeah.
it's again, it was me staying true to myself because I worked so hard to become who I wanted to be.
Yeah, that's beautiful, bro. Like I feel like I went through the same sort of thing where I was in a relationship to where I kind of had to like paint a picture of who I was to make the relationship work, and
Mhm.
then I realized like, dude, that's never gonna end right because they're follow like you said they're gonna if you have that sort of voice like you have in the space now, if they fall in love with like a or not say fall in love but like they start to listen to a fake facade of you like a fake person of you and then they get to know you're like you're nothing like what it is on social media and like not to bring him up or bash him but like someone I hear that is kind of like this and I think people get that rep with is like Derek Lunsford,
Yeah,
not
you
to
hear it
be
all the time.
not to be a dick, but like like him, like the message he portrays on social media, and like I hear people behind the scenes that are like, he's not like that at all. It's like I don't care if you're the Olympia and you're trying to be like a representative of the sport or whatever. I think being true and who you are is like should be paramount. You know what I mean? Like I just
Yes.
that's really weird because like the people are gonna fall like if some new kid got into the sport, right, and they see he's like this, and I don't want to hate on his like religion thing because I'm also big into like Christianity and stuff like that. But I think that whenever you fakely kind of portray that, and then behind closed doors you're not as like that, someone could get into the sport, fall in love with kind of like who he is, and then see him in person and be like, "What happened? This isn't you." So
Yeah.
like that just kind of rubs me the wrong way. I think people can read that. People can read that super
Yes.
super easily, super
Yeah.
easily. Yeah,
And luckily, growing up, I was surrounded by a lot of people older than me. I just kind
yeah,
of tended to gravitate towards that kind of crowd. And I grew up around a lot of authentic people. Even my best friend, Paul, my training partner, it's like
yeah.
my brother, man. He's
Hmm.
extremely authentic. What you see is what you get. So the people that are around me are exactly like me as well when it comes to just them true selves. They have no facades. You're watching these people wear their emotions on their sleeves. Like you're gonna know if they like you, you're gonna know if they don't like you. They're gonna make
Yeah,
sure to let you
yeah,
know that. And they say, show me who your friends are, and I'll show you who you are. And so that's
yeah.
a big deal. I mean, I'm very
That's
picky and
huge. Yeah.
choosy
Hmm.
who I have in my circle. And it's not that I am gonna not talk to anybody, right? I talk to everybody that approaches me, but who I allow close to me is a different story.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I
typically,
tell people.
yeah, who you
Yeah.
see by my side is going to be very much like myself.
Yeah, I like how you put that. I'll talk to anybody, but who really gets through is like what matters. And I try to make this analogy to my either my clients, friends, followers, whatever, on like taking advice, and this can apply to friends too. It's like you need to have almost like a like TSA at an airport in your heads where you people can talk to you. You can hear the information and be like, oh, that's awesome, cool, I like your opinion. But what you really let like get to you, and then using that in the friend aspect and who you allow actually into your circle, you have to kind of watch that and like be like, do I really need this person? Are they gonna, add to my life, or are they just gonna be like a detriment? And I think that you have to be like you got to be honest with people sometimes. You kind of have to be blunt because if they're going to like take away from your life, it's like we only get so much time on earth, man. It's like I don't want people in my life that are fucking negative Nancy's and all that kind of shit. It's just
Yeah,
it's
no, and
tough.
it's like I said, I've worked a lot of years on myself, and some people just aren't at that point yet. So I'm no better than anybody else. I've made my mistakes. I've carried myself in ways that I probably shouldn't have, but I've reflected on that and I've worked on that. And so again, people are just going to cross your path that they haven't got there yet, or maybe they're walking in it right now and they're trying to figure out who they are, and you can kind of see that like you said, there's some people that kind of portray themselves and this doesn't seem genuine. You're going to read that. And again, it's not, they're not bad people, that you're no better than them. They're just not, they haven't put in the work yet that you have yourself. So,
That's a good point. That's a good point. It's all like a maturation process of just kind of figuring out who you are, then portraying that message correctly. And I think the big
yeah.
issue with like the like portraying who you are authentically on social media is that people just want to be they want the likes. They just want to be liked by people, so they put on the facade for the likes, and that's like probably one of the biggest. You can probably even call it a fucking pandemic with my age people. Is like they will be who whatever it takes, and who like whatever picture of themselves they have to paint on social media or to other people, and then they get in their own head, and they're just not like that at all. You get behind closed doors, and they're not that person. Like how
Yeah.
long can you sustain that? It's like it's kind of like how I approach my thoughts around bodybuilding. It's like if you get into bodybuilding for like the likes and for some kind of like what's the word, like maybe like not materialistic, but some kind of fake like ethic or fake
You're,
reason.
you're,
I don't
you're,
think.
you're seeking the approval of others.
Yeah, yeah, and I think that that's just I've had so many, not so many, but I've had a couple friends within like the industry that like when I first met them, I thought they got into fitness, Instagram, what they want to call it, bodybuilding, whatever, for the right reasons, and then like none of them exist now. None of them have Instagrams. None of them. I don't know any of them, and it's like you now I see what your real intention was, and it's like
Yes.
I think way too many guys are getting into the gym for like because some guys get into the gym for girls likes, and it's like you get down the road, it's like I can't think of one time a girl's complimented me in the gym or on Instagram. It's just been a bunch of dudes. It's like that shit's it's a fairy tale. It's like if you don't get into it for like some sort of deeper meaning or reason, it's just not. I don't think it's gonna last. I think it's like it's trying to build a house on like sticks instead of bricks.
The foundation of any good bodybuilder is their why, right? That cliche saying,
Yeah,
what's your why?
yeah,
When the why is much bigger than girls or a set of abs or attention, you're going to see people weed themselves out, right? Like you're going to
Yeah.
see the people that went in for the right reasons and
Yeah.
the passion and the love for what bodybuilding actually has to bring. And then
Right.
you're going to see the people that were seeking attention and approval or just to be part of a fad or whatever you want to call
Mhm.
it. And
Yeah.
that's the beauty of it. You can't fake bodybuilding. You can't fake the love of bodybuilding because in order to do this and live this life, it's got to be a really big why.
Yeah.
Because
A big
then
why
it's very
because yeah.
quick. Yeah, it's
Mhm.
very quick to be able to, like I said, burnt out. It's quick to be able to be like, honestly, this is dumb as fuck. Like,
Yeah, cuz
it's very
yeah, if
easy to go that way.
yeah, if you've got a really weak why, like whenever your coach says, "All right, up the cardio, up the clean, drop the food," you're gonna be like, "Dog, man, maybe I don't want those likes, maybe I don't want those abs." You know what I mean? So the quote I have on my board, it's from a book I read. It's "He who has a why can bear anyhow," and I think
Yes, that's a
that's
great
like
quote.
bodybuilding like in it of itself because it's like if you can have that strong why, whether it be like I don't want to get into like super deep things, but it could be like being made felt less as a kid. It could be being called fat your whole life. It could be whatever. If you have a strong why like that, I think like that strong why leads to like more time in the game and being in the game for longer. And from what I hear and what just makes sense, it's like the longer you can be in this shit and do it for longer, the better. If you have a weak why, whether it be whatever materialistic thing you want to list, it's going to be like a 1 or 2 year hobby you have, and then like I said, whenever you approach that first hard prep, it's like you're kind of cooked. You're screwed.
Yeah,
You're cooked. You're
yeah.
screwed. You know what I
You
mean?
find
So
out real quick. You find out
yeah,
very quick.
yeah, you find it real quick. So getting away from the little mentality topic, when it comes to bodybuilding, you have like right, you've got it's training, it's nutrition, diet, whatever, and then it's PEDs. So of those three things, what do you find to be the most important?
The nutrition.
Nutrition, really?
You know,
Okay.
most people, okay, there's so many avenues that fitness can go, but
Yeah.
say in bodybuilding, right? Most people want to just get really big or just put on muscle. To put
Hmm.
on muscle, you need to be able to eat. Now,
Yeah.
obviously, there's foods, some foods better than others as far as like body composition and how you put the weight on. But regardless of all of that, you still need to be able to get food down. And without that, there's no, so the food is the bricks of the building, right? You can't build a building without the bricks. And the calories are so important. You can train as hard as you want. You can have the best split in the world. You can have the best mind muscle connection. Doesn't matter. The best gear, but without the food, there's nothing that you can really use to grow.
Mhm.
I was natural for a very long time, so I saw the importance of the food and the and getting calories in. And I always trained hard. I never knew how to not train hard, if I'm being honest. Like I always knew how to
Yeah.
push myself. But yeah, the food was where I was like, damn, like this is the magic that people are looking
Mhm.
for, quote unquote. Even as an enhanced athlete nowadays, the amount of food I've had to eat on a consistent basis, whether I wanted it or not, like
Yeah.
I was always able to eat it, but it was the thought of if I don't eat it, I can't progress.
Mhm.
Because I don't want food sometimes. Like a lot of
Mhm.
times, actually, the bigger I got, it was even harder. And so,
Mhm.
yeah, man, nutrition is number
For
one.
sure. I can agree with that. I think that there's a lost art, especially with bodybuilding. I feel like now with getting like actually putting the food down and getting big, okay, 'cause everyone wants to stay, Instagram lean or whatever. And I think that it's like a lost. I think the pendulum kind of has swung like back in the '90s or whatever. It was like everyone got obese, and then now it's like over here, it's like no one wants to eat the food and get big or whatever, and people want to like try and grow on like a maintenance level calories. And I just don't think, and you're an example of that. Like sometimes you have to get a little big to actually put on size. You know what I mean? And I think that's something that I like that you have brought to the bodybuilding world is like I got to get a little big. That's just everybody's gonna grow. Like everybody grows better at different body weights. Some guys may grow leaner better, but some guys, possibly like yourself, just grow better at bigger body weights.
So that's actually kind of segueing off of what you originally asked me, right? Or one of the things you originally asked me. I didn't care what people thought. At the same time, I wanted to give back and show people what it's taken to get to where I want to be. Like nobody wants to show their fat pictures. Nobody wants to show the ugly side of bodybuilding. And like I said, I've always told myself I would be authentic in myself, and I would be transparent. I have no problem showing the quote unquote fat Joe
Yeah.
moments because that is how I've made leaps and bounds in my own physique. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that everybody is going to do that or that do it my way, but I'm just showing you that my way worked. Now,
Mhm.
if you want to try it, go for it. But I was very old school mentality. That's how I got brought up. You eat big to get big, and then you clean it up when you cut down. And one of my favorite
Mhm.
bodybuilders of all time, like if not the favorite, was Lee Priest because of his mentality. It's very similar to mine.
Yeah.
Lee Priest, I would
Rest
say
in
my
peace.
approach was a little cleaner than Lee's,
Right.
but it was the no fucks given mentality. I honestly don't care what anybody thought when it came to me being Fat Joe. And
Mhm.
I mean, as people have finally followed my journey, getting to know me, and I've kind of started creating a name for myself, they have seen the progression over the approach that I've taken over all these years. And
Mhm.
I've even shared my exact cycles on interviews and podcasts.
Yeah.
I have all the,
Notes.
what do you call it? Yeah, notes, the background to show that this is all I've
Mhm.
ever taken. So yeah, man, it's cool to be able to show that and show what it's taken in real time for people.
Yeah.
Because I've been training with weights, right, for the last, it's going 17 years now. I was natural for till I was right before I turned 27. I'm 32 now, so I've only been enhanced since I was 27.
Crazy.
And but I've been training a long time. So when people see the progression, I used to tell them all the time, like, look, because they would accuse me of being on gear and stuff. I would be like,
Yeah.
trust me, if I got on gear, I would probably blow the hell up because I knew how to eat and I knew how to train hard. I was like, if anything, I trained too much to where
Mhm.
I just can't recover because I am natural.
Yeah.
And here we are, right? And so it's been really cool to be able to speak what like, or to say something and then prove that I was right, that I was, whatever I
Yeah.
say I'm going to do, I'm going to do it. And I'll show
Yeah.
you.
Like yeah, like your method, like you're able to show that your method is working. Like I think a lot of
Yes,
people,
yes.
I think it's really cool to see like you're putting that. I think a lot of people try and push a message, whether it be like you only need to gain in a slight surplus or whatever, where it's like you're just this is what has worked for me, and this is like my proof, and it's like you have done that for like years, and I think that people aren't nowadays aren't willing to like put in like hey, this may take you like 5 years to like prove your point. Like, let's just say, like, if you, it's like if you were to give like a scientist a hypothesis and be like, well, it could take like 5 years for this to come to like fruition, like for this to actually be like, hey, this is like another way that you can go about this, and not that. I think on social media, a big thing that a big like perspective or like a way that people preach in content is like this is like this is the way or this is the only way when it's like in bodybuilding dude there is every single like I say this on every podcast every single situation in bodybuilding is like it could end and it depends like it depends like every aspect whether it be PEDs training nutrition it's like that's why I hate people speaking in like absolutes like there is probably two or three situations in life where there's like an absolute. And so whenever I see people being like, you don't need to get as big as he got to put on muscle. It's like, well, for him, it's kind of working, you know. So I think you possibly could get that big and it works. So it's like I don't know. It's just it's crazy. But yeah, I really like how you're able just to like you've been able to put in the work for however many years and getting a little bit bigger and it's like it's showing it's fucking showing you know what I mean so it's really cool
And the people like this, look, there's so many different ways to skin a cat, right? But the people that
exactly
walk that fine line of, let me try to put on as little fat as possible while trying to get as big as possible. It's not that it doesn't work. It's just
yeah
a matter of how long it's going to take, right? But at the same time, I've always preached from when I was natural to now, we're talking over the last 17 years of my life. I said I would rather overeat than under recover. To grow, you need to be in a consistent surplus. And when you're trying to walk that fine line, it's like, well, what if one day you actually, like, say it's a leg day, right? You're going to burn more calories than you do on an arm day or a shoulder day. And it's like, well,
now
so
you're in a
you're going to
deficit
walk that fine line
yeah
and now you're in a
yeah
deficit. And so the consistency of that surplus is now it's like this.
yeah
So you're limiting how much linear progress you can have compared to now it's just like, well, we'll ride this wave. And then all that time you took to
hmm
try to stay lean, you made this much progress compared to you could have made this and then just drop the body fat off over time. But
yeah
you condense that time frame to put on size so much shorter, you know?
yeah
So
That's why caloric maintenance is or such like a bullshit facade in my opinion. It's like
Yeah, man.
your output is different. Like for me, for example, I work at Walmart. So like on average, I could get like 30,000 steps a day, like on average. And then it's like, how could I say I have a calorie maintenance of XYZ calories when 5 out of the 7 days of the week I'm walking 30,000 steps, and then like today when I'm off work I'm getting like 15,000. It's like that just doesn't make sense. And if you're sitting in this like slight caloric surplus, like a 200 calorie surplus all the time, it's like those days that I'm working I'm now in a deficit, but the days that I'm not, it's like it's just I feel like you're going to be moving at a snail's pace and not trying to like compare. I guess you could kind of make the comparison of like, natural versus his hands. It's like you could make progress. You're going to make progress, sure, but it's like that rate of that is going to be exponentially slower. And it's like I think we could probably make you would probably make, and you're a fucking example of this, more progress if you were just to push the envelope a little bit harder than what people will preach, and then just maybe not be a fat slob at
Yeah,
all
don't
off
be a
season, and then
slob. You're
yeah,
gonna I've never been a slob. I've never looked
exactly.
like obese. Because
Hmm.
I train hard, the food gets used, and obviously the excess calories
Hmm.
get stored as fat. But you're
Yeah,
limiting the amount of fat you're storing when your activity level's so high.
yeah,
So
eating
it's
your
just
balls
like,
off.
yeah, I've worked with clients where they tell me they know how to train, and then they just slowly get fat over time. And I'm like, these guys aren't training hard. They're telling me they're
Hmm.
training hard, but they're not training hard.
Yeah.
And obviously, genetics plays a role, but I think a lot of people just jump into shit without that they're not ready for. So, like for example, if you're a client and you're a beginner, having an online coach is not the way to go. You need to go learn how to train before you ever have an online coach.
Hmm.
Like one-on-one kind of thing will show you, or working out with your buddies that know how to train, like to teach you how to
Hmm.
push a set and stuff. Like those things
Hmm.
matter, or else you're just
Yeah.
gonna get fat as fuck. Like
Yeah.
honestly. And then
Yeah.
like the surplus is still somewhat controlled, right? So
Hmm.
instead of having 200 or 300 calories, it's like 500 to 1,000 in surplus. But it's not
Hmm.
like you're gonna eat 3,000 extra calories on top of that and then just store a fuck ton of fat right off the bat. So there
Yeah.
is somewhat of a controlled environment with it, right? So it's
Hmm.
just shoot for the stars, land on the moon kind of thing, when it
Yeah.
comes to the
Yeah.
calorie base.
Yeah, I agree. I think the best approach for what it seems like I listen to and just makes sense is like let's look at your year-round diet as just, prep is the same, like bodybuilding is like the same, like 15 like subset group of foods. You have like your typical carb sources, your typical protein sources, veggie, fruits, fats, etc., whatever. And then it's going up and down with those. And then some cheat meals here and there, however you utilize that,
Implement them,
whatever,
yeah.
and that's it. That's really it. It doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. And I think that a great point you just made is the training point, which I want to get to here in a little bit. Is like I think that's why some people do end up getting fat is because their training is like they're training with all this RIR and shit. And I think people forget like the caloric expenditure that you can get from like a hard leg day. If you're
Yeah.
training with like 3 RIR on every movement, like there's I know that the majority of like your focus for like a from an output standpoint needs to be like diet, cardio, neat, whatever. But like that training that's still a thing. That's still caloric expenditure. Like I look at my watch sometimes, like I'll keep it on during leg days, and not that like calories burned according to a watch is like that accurate, but I just look at it, and like the days that I wear my watch during my leg day, it's like I burned like 2,000 extra calories, it looks like. And that it
Yeah.
matters. People don't take that into consideration because they care about is like my fatigue is gonna fucking kill me. So it's like, it's just it's like I don't know if it is, brother. I don't know if you being such a young lifter that your fatigue is going to kill you. I just think that that's a
No,
I,
they
I
don't.
I could talk about that for fucking like 5 hours, I feel like. But yeah, so a little bit more on the dieting part. So I know that most guys here know you from, or I've heard a lot about you from like your rebounds with Compton. So coming out of a prep, in most cases, I understand like there are, certain scenarios where like, maybe you had someone that had to bury themselves in a prep and they've been in prep for a long time, and maybe they do coming out of a show, they do need to like take some time off and like recoup whatever. But do you think in most cases that rebound phase is like the most important phase throughout a calendar year for like a bodybuilder, and they need to capitalize on that? Or do you think that what do you think about that?
I think most people waste the phase because of how hard preps can be. And they're just so happy to be done with the prep that they lose out on that window of time that your
Yeah.
body is so susceptible for growth and to stay as lean as possible if you do it right. And, you
Mhm.
don't even have, like, I don't want to say this because people take things literally, but you don't have to train that hard coming out of a show for your body to respond. You're still going to push
Yeah.
yourself. But, like, for example, every rebound I do, first of all, there's no cheat meals, just a dinner after the show, a breakfast the next day, and a dinner at night on Sunday. And then Monday it's back on plan 100%. And
Fuck back in, yeah.
however, yeah, I treat it exactly like prep. Again, no cheat meals until the reverse is done or the rebound's
Mhm.
done, and
Mhm.
then I'll implement one cheat meal a week, and then eventually over time I'll let it get to two, and then the
Mhm.
rest is the off season, right? But so that can range from anywhere from like 6 to 10 weeks post show. I won't have any cheat meals, but the reason being is because you want to control every variable that you can. So if you're controlling the caloric intake or surplus over time, you're going to keep your body as tight as possible, but also the training volume. You don't got to train super hard right out the gate. You can build that up along with the food as well because you're coming out
Mhm.
of a show, right? So instantly you're going to slowly get your strength back. So that's automatically going to bring things up because that's still a
Mhm.
stressor on your body. And you build that over time. And that's how you continuously grow during the rebound. So the
Yeah.
controlled food intake over time in a surplus, getting back to a healthy level of body fat while your body's responding to training that you're slowly ramping up as the weeks go by and recover, letting your body slowly come out of that depleted state into a full fed, strong state.
Yeah.
I believe that is where most of my muscle was put on. Every post show I've done with Justin, that's where we saw the biggest increase in size. And then
Mhm.
pretty much we tried to tack on whatever little extra we could in the actual off season, but more
Mhm.
so solidify what we just did in the rebound. Because to keep new muscle tissue, you have to let it marinate a little bit, let it mature a little bit so it sticks for the next
Mhm.
one.
Yeah.
So everything has been done very strategic. And like I said, there's moments where I'm just locked in 100% bodybuilding, no cheat meals. Like I am here to make progress and be one of the best. So I have to treat it like that. And then things ease up a little bit as the season goes, but I'm still training hard. I'm eating my food, always eating enough, resting, all that stuff. So
I think a lot of people kind of look at like that post show phase as like restoration of health, but I feel like if you keep everything dialed in, I think if you go off the rails post show, that's like a shitty diet and shitty adherence is what is going to wreck your health. I think a lot of people think like, well, coming off like lowering the PEDs and all this kind of stuff is what's going to restore your health. But I think that the main health implication when it comes to post show is people eating their face off and gaining 30 pounds and then about to kill themselves with food. And I think that if you can, a way that I've framed it for myself because I'm about to wrap up my little cut right now and go into like a little rebound phase, whatever. It's like the way that my coach has framed it as and frames it for his other athletes, and I think I've heard of a few others talk about it, is like you kind of look at your show because bodybuilding, like the love of bodybuilding should be like for progression, right? It's for progress, it's for whatever. It's not like getting to the show and then it's like I'm done. It's like you have this progression model. So it's like look at the show as like the midpoint. Like this is the midpoint between you and progress because that rebound for you, for example, is where like you could have like a let's just say for example like a 30-week improvement phase or whatever you want to call it, but the majority of that growth is going to come right off the bat when your body is sensitive to everything you give it: food, drugs, training, more sleep, supplements, whatever. You know what I mean? And it's like if you can, your most of your growth is going to come right there, like right in that first initial period when you're sensitive and shit like that. And I feel like if you do that slow or that reset at the beginning, you've kind of screwed yourself. Even if you think that like restoring health metrics off the rip will give you like a longer off season per se. I think you're not going to get the most bang for your buck. I feel like it just makes sense to like capitalize on how sensitive you are coming off a prep like that. That just makes sense to me. You know what I mean? Like you're primed. Like why not push the envelope when your body's in a good spot like that? And like for your rebounds, if you want to go into this, have coming out of those and like pushing the food, pushing, I don't know what you do PED wise out of that, push training and volumes not going up like too crazy high. But as far as like health metrics go, how have your labs looked like post rebound most times?
they're not too bad.
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna get the typical like elevation in like your liver enzymes and stuff, and
Yeah.
just a little bit thicker blood and all that, but nothing's ever
Hmm.
been like scary or any of that. And it's because, yeah, like I said, I've always treated it where we do lower PEDs. We slowly increase the food to let the body fat slowly accumulate, and we never even get fat at the end of the rebound. I'm actually in a very healthy lean state. but
Mhm,
it's just not stage lean anymore. And so my labs have always surprised Justin, actually, like for how long we have to be on sometimes.
yeah.
And yeah, man, it's health is wealth. But luckily, I've had the genetics to be able to carry that.
Yeah, I think that the biggest, like I said, the biggest health implication post show is just going to be like the biggest detriment to your labs is just going to be like be eating like an idiot and like adding in cheat meals right off the bat and not treating like that first like 6 to 8 weeks post show like it's just an extension of prep basically, you know.
You know what's helped me as well is I don't run diuretics for my shows.
Mm,
I've never really have. I did one time, my first time with Justin, and it was like half diazide, and it wasn't even worth it. Like he had to fill me up with water, like literally in between prejudging and finals, because he's like, I didn't need to do that based on what I'm seeing now that he got like video of it. This is
mhm,
2022. I have not run a diuretic since then. That was the only time I ever
mm.
did. So
That makes
that
sense.
helped me a lot as well, I'm sure, with my numbers.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. 'Cause I feel like if you're having to, there's so many variables that are gonna be at play there when you use a diuretic that could skew health markers, mess up all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's I definitely think that in most cases that rebound phase is where like I mean I've seen it time and time again with guys, with yourself included. Like there's one guy I can't remember who they were talking about on Andrew Barry's podcast who put on like an absurd amount of muscle in like a little rebound phase, and it's like I just think that it just makes sense. And, you know, I understand the argument behind. I could see the point in like, well, you want to get healthy or whatever. But I think that if you just don't eat like an idiot and you just treat your rebound like the extension of an extension of the prep, you will be healthy. So, but yeah. But getting off the diet thing, going into training, something that I've picked up from your podcast with you and everything is that you've really like simplified your training. You don't overthink shit. You don't have like a set plan and you don't have like a whatever. You just go in and you train your balls off. That's really just like the main foundation of your training. And so why do you think that gets so overcomplicated now?
I think that, okay, so I want to make sure I relay this message.
Hmm.
People can't train like me in the beginning. So,
Hmm.
meaning, or the way I train right now,
I agree.
nobody should train like that. They
I
should
agree.
not. This has been something that I've developed over time, and I
Hmm.
have learned to master and become a pro at my own body
Hmm.
and mind muscle connection and understanding that I can stress the muscle way better than anybody can in the beginning.
Yes.
So in the beginning, I always tell people that ask me, watch my earlier YouTube videos if you watch my YouTube, and training like
Hmm.
that is what's going to be the most beneficial, where
Yeah.
you focus on the number on the bar, you simplify it down to maybe 3 to 5 lifts on each body part. You do
Hmm.
1 to 2 working sets max. Usually I just pyramid up to a top set and walk away, because I
Hmm.
think hard and heavy and strength foundation is extremely important. And then you can slowly ramp that in or turn that into volume over time, and then train like me instinctively. And
Hmm.
no matter what, like at my level now, I can take a 15-pound dumbbell on a side lateral and
Hmm.
it destroy my side delt. But in the beginning, I was working my way up to like 80-pound dumbbell side laterals. That's how strong I got.
Yeah.
So the way I train now, unless you're at the level that I am with my physique, you should not train that way. And when you're trying to
Hmm.
build the foundation, you train like you're building a foundation.
Yeah,
Hard,
exactly.
heavy, basic, pyramid sets,
Yeah.
progressive overload with extra weight on the bar as often
Hmm.
as you can, and rest, recover, eat big, and get a little chubby. Don't try not to lose your abs, but push your body weight up, and move some heavy
For
shit.
sure.
That is
Yeah.
foundation. That I would
Yeah.
never have gotten this far without that.
Exactly. Yeah, I
So
think I think it's like you have to, like I've said before, you have to earn the right to train like that. It's like
yes,
it's a
yes,
skill. It's a skill. It's like I made this reference on my last podcast. It's like I saw a video, another example, not to bring him up, but like Nick Walker, for example. He trains very methodically now. Look at his
yes.
early videos. He trained like a fucking psychopath. And it's like you have to have that foundation, like you said, before you can get to like the instinctual things. Cause like I always try and tell clients as well, it's like you have to neurologically adapt to exercises as well. And if you're changing shit, like you, for example, you could probably do like a couple different variations of a press, but you since you've trained for longer than half these kids or guys have been alive, you can cue the certain things and get your muscle firing correctly in any machine probably. For a
Yes.
beginner or for someone to get into the sport, it doesn't have to be someone young, just someone get into lifting in general. It's like you have to neurologically cue certain things and like feel certain ways or whatever. Like I think Chris Tuttle said something about it. He was like, I can do any kind of press and my chest is firing. You know,
Yes.
a beginner, if they're like changing exercises every week and like, you know, fucking worried about RIR and this shit and that shit, it's like, how are you ever gonna cue like the correct things that really matter for an exercise? Like what I try and tell myself and tell other people when I give like training advice is like I don't think that volume, reps, sets, it all I feel like if when you're a beginner, it's like if you'll do 1 to 3 sets in like the fucking 6 to 20 rep range, you're probably gonna grow. But what you need to worry about is like how are you doing that? Like the biomechanics of how you are doing that. And then if you really hone in on that shit when you're young or just getting into lifting, you'll be able to instinctually lift like you can because you know how the muscle works. It's like at the end of the day, it's like the chest like moves like in this one certain way. It's like that's how it moves. So if you can just get that down and get the biomechanics of the movements down, then down the road you can worry about, you know, whatever. And I think that that foundation is just I think a lot of people that get into bodybuilding now, I've heard a lot of people talk about this, is like they don't have like a sports background. They've gotten into the sport like the through whatever means it may be. If they don't have like that foundation of like whether it be like football fucking training where you're just squatting your balls off and you got fucking a bunch of meatheads pounding the weight on the sides of the fucking rack. Like I think when you miss that foundation and then you try to jump into training and base your knowledge and what you do for training off of like Instagram reels and shit like that, that's where it could be kind of rough. Whereas if you have like a sports background, I feel like you have like that instinctual foundation of like strength training and like training your balls off to where you'll probably be able to progress to a position that you're at a little bit quicker than if someone were to get into lifting with kind of like a it's a different starting point. It's not the same, I don't think, if you don't have like some sort of sports background, in my opinion.
Yeah, when you haven't done athletics, it's kind of you look awkward when you lift. You're always gonna know when
Yeah.
somebody's done that. And
Hmm.
100%, obviously, I had a sports background
Yeah.
and explosive functional training, man. The squats, power cleans, overhead presses, bench presses. These were all the foundation.
Yeah.
Man, I'm not old. I'm a younger guy. Like it's not like
Yeah.
I'm super young, but that was my foundation. And I never like when I see people train real slow and controlled with a 45-pound plate on a bench press. I'm like, you're not going to get fucking shit from that. You haven't developed the
Yeah.
strength to even handle that weight properly with
Yeah.
the feeling that you're trying to chase. Like, so you're skipping so many steps. Like, fucking throw that shit in the air. Like, move it, bounce it off your
Yeah.
fucking chest. Do some stupid
Yeah.
shit with it just to try to move it for a number because you need that. You
Yeah.
need those motor units. You need to be able to experience that and to understand what it's like to get stuck under a bar because you have the balls to go for that extra rep. Like what failure
Yeah.
really is. Like that is so important. And yeah, man, people trying to
And that
lift like
shit's fun
robots. We're
too.
not robots. Yeah,
And that shit's
that's
fun
a
too. Like I think that's a big issue is like people what I've come to realize with training and people that are getting into the sport, like people want what is the most on paper, what will give them the most bang for their buck, as in progress, limiting fatigue, whatever bullshit metric they're trying to track. And it's like, is it fun? Like, is this fun to you? Like, is setting your arm up like this to do a fucking pull down really that fun for you? Like, is like
yeah.
answer me that. And it's like, no, it's not. Like, I think that if you were to incorporate some shit like you did from like, I'm not saying you need to incorporate like football type lifts into a bodybuilding context, but you can like, you know, you take like a free barbell squat to maybe like a hack squat or like a deadlift to like an RDL or whatever, and have those core movements where you're trying to get strong as fuck, and you're just trying to get strong. And I think that that shit's kind of fun. Like whenever you're trying to be so technical, like on, for example, like on my back day, you know, I have like a barbell row, or on like on my back is I have like a barbell row where I'm just trying to rip that shit. That's all my like I'm trying to have good form, obviously not like a retard, but like I'm just trying to rip shit. And then like on my other back day, I have like an RDL. I got two top sets, and bro, like those two top sets, I'm like I get two chances to like kill myself. You got to take it there, and it's like if you don't have that like football background to where or like not just football, but like a sports background, it's where you have like I'm sure you remember like max days where you have like the whole team is surrounding you. There's motherfuckers like banging the weights on the side. It's like if you don't have that kind of mentality, I don't think you're ever really able to take it there unless you have like
Hmm.
a trainer with you in person. And even then, it's not the same as like being a 17-year-old kid that has like 400 pounds on his back or whatever, and you have every kid watching you in the gym. And it's like there's a level of like I don't think the word's integrity, but like you want to prove everyone around you like right, like you want to prove
Bro,
yourself.
no,
And if
straight up. It's just having
yeah,
balls, man. Like,
yeah,
if you're not nervous about a set you're about to do and you have butterflies, like, fucking A, like, I don't want to fail. And
yeah,
I'm kind of afraid I might get hurt, but I'm going to go for it anyways. Like, you're
yeah,
probably not training right in the beginning.
that shit
And
hits
I mean,
crazy.
it may sound stupid to some people, but the
Yeah,
ones that felt that have gone the farthest. The ones that have put themselves through that feeling and lived for
yeah.
that feeling, they're the ones who go the farthest.
Bro, if I could like capture like the feeling, like not that I've moved like crazy amounts of weight yet, but like if I could like capture the feeling of like going into a top set of like an RDL and then like beating my numbers from the last week into a pill and like the post like euphoria you get from that, that shit's crazy. And I think if you always train like with whether it be you're training with reps in reserve or you're trying to limit your fatigue or whatever, you're never going to get that rush of like dopamine because doing like just it's just doing hard shit like it doesn't even have to be like a training thing, just doing hard things like the feeling you get afterwards is it's nice, it's just nice to do
And
hard
bro,
things.
just as simply as, not to make this a fucking masculine thing, but just
Yeah,
being a man, bro, I wanted to be big and strong. I wanted to be strong as fuck. Like, I thought that was dope as fuck to be. I feel like
yeah,
in most males, that should definitely be a wanton desire. Like, I think that's pretty
yeah,
normal. So
yeah, for
when
real.
people try to do the most minimal, it blows my fucking mind. I'm like, dude, where the fuck do your balls go? I don't
Yeah,
understand. Like, what the
yeah,
fuck? Like,
yeah. I think that's an epidemic with just like the guys coming up in general. Is that like that whole there's that, and it's like the sometimes like the demonization of masculinity. I feel like people kind of get scared of like if they're too masculine, they're gonna get like hated on or whatever. And it's like if you're gonna train like that, I don't think you're ever gonna build really anything that's respectable. Like if you just
yeah.
if you train timidly or train scared or whatever, it's like
And I promise you, the only reason you see anybody training like I do now, or like slower and controlled, like Nick and stuff like that, it's because we had to, whether it was due to injury, whether it was due to just perfecting the physique and fine tuning things, we were forced into a position to do so. But I guarantee you, we would all like love to go back to what originally built us. That's when it was the most
exactly.
fun. Now it's fun because we're chasing a certain goal to get better in the sport,
Hmm.
not in the weight room. If that makes
Yeah,
sense. But getting better in the weight room was everything as far as performance.
yeah. It's just it all comes back to kind of like what's your reason, what's your why. If you're getting gym, if you're getting into the training just for the progress and not for just the love of training, that I think this foundation is pretty weak and it's gonna fall eventually. And it's that whole thing. I feel so much better. Jesus Christ. Alrighty, so getting back to your prep, I remember a couple podcasts ago I pulled up some of your shots and this was like maybe a month ago, a few weeks ago, and I remember looking at those shots being fucking blown away. But then like a week later, you seem to get in shape really fast. Has that always been the case?
Yes, from the
It
very
has,
beginning.
really.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
that
think it
makes
has a
sense.
lot to do with obviously genetics, and then
Yeah,
obviously I adhere to my plan 100%. I don't fuck off. I don't, I do what I'm supposed to.
yeah.
And then I think what happens is from the off season, my fats are way higher. So you take away all those extra fats, and that puts me in a pretty quick
Hmm.
deficit. And so
Yeah.
just taking those fats, putting in carbs, my body just recomps very quickly, very nicely.
Yeah, I can't remember which update it was. I can't remember which one it was, but I remember looking at one and like this was like a while back or whatever. And like you were in pretty good shape. And then like literally just a fucking week later, I was like, what the like how the fuck does that happen? Like it takes other guys and myself like weeks to get like that condition that quickly. But I wanted to ask, has there been any different approaches that you and Justin have taken this prep, whether it be PD design, whether it be diet design, or have you had any like other peptides you're adding or anything like that, or has it been pretty much the same?
It's been exactly the same.
Really?
Yeah, it's been identical pretty much. The amounts
Really?
of food is
Wow.
different and the amounts
Yeah.
of cardio has been different
There's
because
more
I'm just a
muscle,
bigger,
probably. Yeah.
more muscular bodybuilder at this point, and I had less fat to start than I
Yeah.
normally do. So my
Yeah.
metabolism was just better, but
Yeah. This
everything's been
kind
the
of,
same from
yeah.
the gear protocol to
Yeah, this kind of comes back to the conversation of like putting the time in your earlier years of just getting putting the muscle on. So now down the road, it's like I don't really got to do anything different. I just do the same thing every time, and I'm just a little bit bigger, so I have to do a little bit
yeah.
less, and I can eat a little bit more. It's just it's pretty people. I think that's probably the most lost art in like that get taking 5 or however many years it takes for you to really put on the size is that like you get that payback at like the end of the road. It seems like you get to diet on more food, you get to do less cardio, and even like for myself, I haven't gained any substantial amount of like muscle yet, but like even compared to my first prep to my second prep, it was like I gained a little. Hey, are you tired of falling in the same cycle of always falling off your diet, hating how you look, and never making any progress with your physique? Well, brother, that ends today. Down in the description below will be the link to my website with my one-on-one coaching as well. With the one-on-one coaching, it's no AI bullshit. It's personalized plans to fit your approach for your goals for whatever that may be. Whether that be building muscle, losing fat, getting to stage, whatever it is, I'm here to help you. If you've been stuck in the same loop for the past 2 years, haven't made any progress in the gym, your sex life sucks, your libido's off, your hormones are off, I am here to guide you to the perfect approach for you. If that sounds like something that interests you, hit the link in the description and let's get to work. A bit of muscle, and I was able to diet on a little more food. I'm like, this just makes sense. You get bigger, you can just you can do not do less, but you can do a little less and eat a little more. It's pretty simple. And I think that whenever
Yeah.
you don't take advantage of those off seasons, you just you end up kind of shooting yourself in the foot in the end. You kind of like cut off shit at the end. So it's like it's just another like flower in your cap for like going into the off seasons with your kind of approach, you know?
And then I've also noticed I can handle lower levels of body fat better than I used to. So like I don't feel as shitty at a certain body fat compared to when I first got lean. Being like 10% body fat was fucking horrible. Like it doesn't seem that low
Yeah.
unless you haven't been there. And then yeah, now it's like I can chill around 8% body fat feeling pretty all right, like it's not like a
Hmm.
hard chore. You
Yeah.
kind of
Oh
earn
yeah.
that too.
Compared to other preps, I'm sure this kind of ties into my the last thing, but compared to previous preps, has this been any harder, any easier, or is it just getting easier with the more muscle you have?
So I don't ever like to say harder and easier. I would say like so the longer you do it, the more you just kind of get used to it. As far as
Hmm.
activity level and food, it's been the easiest. I mean, the most cardio I've done is 40 minutes,
Hmm.
and that's very recent. That's
Yeah.
as of this last week. And then and I'm 4 weeks out, right? So that tells you something. And then
Yeah. Right.
the food, I've had way less food in the past compared to now. So like just dealing with hunger, like I'm still probably just as hungry, but your eyes seeing more food makes it mentally easier
Yeah.
with that. And then
Hmm.
yeah, man, just being in a good place mentally overall with my life. So
Yeah. That's a big thing. I think people forget
that
to take that into consideration. This fucking update I was just looking at is psychotic, dude.
it's black on my screen. I can't see it. Oh, there it is. Now it's showing.
This
Yeah, that was the one we
crazy.
decided to stop posting after that. So people
Y'all
aren't gonna.
y'all
I'm
are
not
going
sure. I'm
Dory
not.
mode.
Yes, we're not showing anything. But that's the
I
last
like
post that
that.
I did to keep people like, oh damn, I started to make them think maybe this guy can push Nick.
I'm telling you, bro. It's I think this is gonna be. I was wanting to get down to Tampa. I live in Arkansas, so it'd be like a little bit of a trip for me. But I was like, dude, this is gonna be a show because it's you, Nick, who else? Ken, some other guys are gonna be in it,
James Hollingshead,
James,
Johan.
Joe. That's gonna be a show, dude. And I think that it's really cool because it's the first, like I'm sure you've already alluded to and talked about a couple of times, but it's the first time that Nick's having someone that's compared to him that's like of similar structure. So that's gonna be really cool. And it's just I don't know, man. Like that's gonna be a fucking show, dude. So with that, I know that you've wanted to like compete against Nick for a while now because that's someone that you've not I don't want to say he's your idol, but you've looked up to because he's he's big in his face or whatever. So like how has that been on your mental like finally getting that shot?
It's nice to know I get that shot when I felt that I was ready.
Mm,
Like I feel I have earned a spot with my physique to stand next to someone like Nick.
damn right you
And
have.
it's exciting for me. It's very
Yeah.
exciting. that
Fuck yeah,
say, like, if you would have had me stand next to Nick last year, he would have kicked my ass 100%.
yeah,
But this year it's a different story with what I'm bringing, and it's exciting to know that he'll be compared to the best version of me.
yeah. So coming off of, yeah, I'm sure you've addressed this before, but coming off of Tampa and Texas last year, what were the main critiques that you had from judges? If you like got the critiques or whatever.
The sweeps of my legs, that was literally
Can you hear me?
that, and then a little bit of posing stuff. So that was the main focus, and it just so happened I grew everything
Mm-hmm.
with this off season, with my
Yeah.
arms and my legs in particular. My back got a little wider,
Mm-hmm.
my upper chest got a little better, which all this alludes to my waist looking a little smaller. So, but the main feedback was, Joe, you bring up your sweeps and you're gonna be almost unbeatable, man. Like, so that
I
was very
appreciate it.
encouraging to hear. So
I believe you. I believe
knowing
you. I
that
believe you did that. I
yeah,
believe you
so
did that. Yeah, that
there
was
was a
one thing
lot
I
of
was
motive.
noticing. Yeah, in this front shot was your quads, and if you want to go into it, was there anything different you did with like leg training? Was there anything that you did specifically for quads? Like how'd that look?
Yeah, man. So I used to do legs where it's always been one leg day, but I only did three quad exercises, and I
Yeah,
always train as heavy as possible. Now I train five quad exercises with focus solely on the sweep. So there's like very precise tension on the sweep the whole time through
yeah,
all those movements. And
hmm
so just training with a lot of purpose.
yeah. A lot of
And
intent.
yeah, I didn't care how much weight was on the bar as long as it was enough for me to create harsh tension on the part of the leg that I needed most.
Hmm
And that was it, man. Just volume and training smarter.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, you would think the more intention, the more volume you put towards it, it's and with the way you approach it, it's gonna grow. You know what I mean? So that's really cool, and that's really insightful.
But you see, like, I've done the hard and heavy shit though. Like,
Yeah,
the foundation was there. So now, for example,
yeah,
I can place load on a certain part of my quad, and I'm that good at being in tune with that to where that
hmm
tension point's going to be hit like where I want it, and I can just
hmm
ride out that time under tension with the weight that's enough load to be able to create a stimulus of growth, right? So
yeah,
that was earned over time. I've
yeah.
done
Like,
7 plates on my back kind of thing, man. I've done nine
uh,
plate hack squats.
like if
It
you're trying to
definitely had its
Yeah,
place.
if you're trying to tell a beginner, hey, I want you to put the emphasis on your outer sweep, they're gonna be like, "The fuck you
Yeah,
talking?
that's
What are you
dumb as
talking?
fuck.
What are you
Don't.
talking? What are you talking about?" Yeah,
Yeah,
so
you don't do
I
that.
get
Yeah.
I get that in my head too. Like sometimes, like I'm like, how can I like bias my whatever on this movement? It's like, nah, fuck that. I just need to move weight. I can like I alluded to earlier. I can earn that right to worry about like the whatever part of my quad or whatever part of my chest down the road when I've been able to move some weight to actually do to elicit a response or whatever. So that's
Yes.
earn the right to fucking do all the specific stuff like you're doing. But do you keep up with like the competitive scene that much, like bodybuilding?
Yeah, I mean, I know who wins the shows, like who gets top three most of the time, and
What are
or
your
top
what are your
five.
thoughts? What are your thoughts on like Portugal this weekend?
Without Bonac and Ali doing it, or Baruz, like that's Jordan's show to win, in
Yeah,
my
yeah.
opinion. Like,
I would, man. I
I don't
really
have
would
any doubt in
love
my
to
mind.
see. I would love to see. What is this? This is it. I would love to see James do well because it's gonna be them two going head to head. But from a couple of the updates I saw, James's conditioning isn't the best compared because Jordan is like granite, like all the
So
time. So it's like
James
it's
James
gonna be
is just
tough.
kind of doing it. Like, James is just kind of doing it to spend time out there. He said it on a podcast, and he's
Okay.
not ready. He said he's not ready. He's going to jump in and do it
Okay.
pretty much for fun.
Okay, that makes
Um,
sense.
yeah, because so he knows he's not like actually ready for it.
Okay, that makes sense. This is someone getting off the open topic for a second. Nihat in the 212 is someone I'm excited to watch at Portugal. This dude is fucking.
Oh
He's
yeah,
I think he's like 23.
it's ridiculous how young these guys are and how good they're looking now, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, he's gonna be he's one of the next he's next up. Like him, like I don't know who else. I don't really keep up with the 212 that closely, but like it's him, Keon, and Sean, and I don't really know who else would be pushing like that top three. But I think he's the next one up. If like what's his name, Keon were to ever want to jump up to open, I think he's the next one in line because Sean's kind of
Yeah,
old. So yeah, who else do we have to in open? Got Justin Musial. He's another one of Tuttle's guys. You got Mark Hector, Tim Budesheim. Yeah, definitely Jordan show definitely Jordan's show. What do you think was his issue at Italy at the Flex Pro?
I don't know, man. He looked good all the way through until show day. So I don't know if there was digestive issues or like
I think
maybe
that's what it
he
was. Yeah.
because he looked like he had a hard time bringing his lower abdomen, but at the same time
Hmm.
he didn't look. I mean, according to him, it's hard to tell on the live stream and stuff, but it was
Right.
he didn't look like conditioned, but I know he was. So it's just bad the video. But at the same time, his feedback was he wasn't full enough. So it's going to be hard
Okay.
for him to get fuller if his stomach's popping low like that,
Yeah.
because they're critiquing him on that, and so he doesn't want to ignore that.
What I
So we'll
heard
see, man.
someone
I don't know.
what I heard on a podcast earlier was that they thought that he had gotten there kind of late, and so they tried like filling him up really quickly, and then that's what kind of like distended his stomach or whatever. So they think that being overseas for like a little bit of an extended time may may help that a little bit. But I do think overall in that show, it's probably going to be Jordan's show to walk away with. And I don't know what shows come after Portugal. Like what's the next after that?
I think after Portugal, it's Tampa,
Is it? Yeah, it is
or the
Tampa. I think.
I believe so.
Let me see. I don't think they have the. This is classic through Portugal. Who is doing classic Portugal? I don't know any of these guys.
So my wife and son are finally up. Is there
Yeah.
any last questions you want to ask me before I go?
No, yeah. There is always one little last question I like asking my guests before we head out. So whenever your time's up, Joe, how do you want to be remembered as a person?
So pretty much, I want to be an example of somebody that when they had that dream in their heart, they were going to be willing to chase it no matter what adversity, no matter what they were told, that they could be who they want to be if they just go for it and are willing to do the things and work for the things that they're trying to achieve. That no matter who you are, you can make it happen. And if you love something, to just do it. Don't live a life of regret playing what if, just know that you did. And yeah, man, like believe in yourself, because if you don't, no one else will. And I mean, I've walked away from a job and stuff to pursue this. I've lost a lot of relationships along the way, but I knew my true happiness lied in my pursuit to achieve who I believe I could be. And so here we are. And I want to be remembered for that, being the example of that.
That's fucking beautiful, dude. That's like I have my like a quote I like wrote up like a year ago. That's very similar to that. It's like just be the example for someone that needs it out there that wants to pursue something. Like just be the person that someone could see like pursuing something. Like fuck, maybe I only get one life. Like why not pursue this shit?
Why not me?
Why not me? Why not fucking me? That's awesome, bro. So, man, I appreciate you making the time, dude. This was fucking awesome. I'll have this up here in a few days, and I'll shoot you the link for it. And then, but yeah, man, I really appreciate you taking the time. This was awesome, and thank you.
Yeah, thanks for having me on, man. I truly
Okay,
appreciate it. More than
see
happy
you,
to
brother.
jump on anytime.
Yeah,
Later.
man. Have a good one.